Hello all of you little demons, Jules here for WhatCulture.com, and yes, you have read the title. I am back for another not list, aka an episode of These Things Suck, a format where I and my neck vein Jeremy decide to take a screeching whistle-stop tour around the video game industry, find things that make us feel so goddamn angry inside, that make us just want to curl up into the fetal position and cry a little bit, and then make videos about them for your entertainment. You are very, very welcome. And today we are talking about an absolute skid mark of a topic because we're discussing racing video games that, yes, absolutely suck. Because while our real lives might be filled with traffic queues, spiralling fuel prices, and of course the fact that most of us own something far less impressive than a supercar, when it comes to video games, we're piloting such beasts that even the rev of their engines would make our rides leak oil. And I ride a bike, so that's very weird. But yes, you know the format by now. We're not talking about the Forzas, the Crash Nitro Karts, or even the F-Zeros. No, we're talking about the absolute stinkers that crashed and burned straight into a brick wall as soon as they started. Fantastic. So let's get on with it. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and yes, these racing video games suck. I tell you, Sonic, seriously mate, how are you a mascot for this gotta go fast mentality, yet have been in so many absolute skip-fire racing games? In fact, outside of the genuinely brilliant Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed and maybe one or two surprisingly okay racing titles, his other racetrack endeavours have been less burning rubber and more absolute skids. And right in the utter pits of this are the likes of Sonic R and Sonic Freeriders. Now, to begin, Sonic Freeriders for the Xbox 360 feels exactly like that, a free ride that coasted on the goodwill generated from prior Sonic Rider titles that crashed and burned right out of the gate. For you see, dear friends, in yet another of their, well, let's have a cheeky bump first before we do anything, the devs decided to pivot this entire game around the Xbox 360's Kinect, which, lest we not forget, is about as responsive as the Grim Reaper's non-existent genitals, and was such a taint on this game in equal measures. Using naught but their own flabulous and pale goblin-like bodies, players were then asked to use motion controls to gracefully glide around tracks, except seeing as the Kinect barely wanted to register its own existence in our reality, ended up with us flailing around as Sonic slammed his face into walls and then ground his mush along at a snail's pace. Now at this point in time, I thought that maybe this was the most pain that Sonic could put me through when it came to racing titles, but then I remembered that darkest of clouds that loomed over the franchise. Sonic R was here, and it was bringing the thunder. And by that I mean that it made an absolutely arse-wobbling squelch when it landed on the Sega Saturn. This game, ooh, my sweet prince, this game. It is so ineffably bad that it warrants a hazardous waste warning symbol on the box. The way that it approaches its very controls scream of a design team looking to reinvent the wheel, but only developing a new way to eat bloody pot noodles, as the sludgy turning circles combined with blistering speed is like the team was out to lunch every single waking moment. Plus, for some ungodly reason, they decided to include platforming elements in their racing games, meaning that you have to jump over obstacles as they present themselves to you. And sometimes you have to just stop. You just have to stop racing. And that's what people want, right? That's what people want to do in a racing game, is stop. So I ask you, do you want to play a game with controls that feel as effective as trying to get your cat not to sit on your keyboard? Do you want to play a game with graphics so sharp that you could cut fucking beef on them? Do you want to play a game with a camera so disgustingly rigid that it clips through every single wall it can? Now, if you answered yes to any of these, then I can only assume that that's a cry for bloody help, and I hope that you get the attention that you need, my friend. But it is a cry that unfortunately will be drowned out in the mire of just sheer, utter horror. And also, admittedly, some pretty good soundtracks. That was the one game saving feature that it had. Pretty bop-filled. But anyway, explosion. Whew, so I know what you're thinking to yourself. Oh, baby, it sure is nice to live in the world of 2022 where borders are kind of opening up again and now travel across the world is finally accessible sometimes when we feel like it, assuming that there's not another massive catastrophe going on. Still, we have a little bit more freedom is what I'm trying to say. But wait, my friend, before you pack your string vest and pairs of socks that come with sandals stitched to them, how about we look around to see if video games can save you a bit of cash and a bit of jet lag, as there is actually a game on the market that apparently lets you experience North Korea in all of its mysterious glory. That's right, North Korea! Wow! Woo! Wee! Wow! Yes, that's right, thanks to the likes of Pyongyang Racer, we can experience the actual streets of Pyongyang. Or should that be Hollywood set cutouts, because those houses and buildings that you're driving past really are looking pretty flat, my friend. And where are the bloody people? And why are there only like 2 or 3 cars on the road at a single time? And why is that rather stern police officer here telling me what to do with every waking second of my life? Okay, so beyond all of these very weird gameplay elements, this game absolutely stinks like rotten eggs. For some reason, your car burns through oil at a rate that would make even America itself sweat, and thus you're constantly having to collect random oil drums that have been scattered around the very, very bland streets. In fact, going out of your way to collect these drums is the only challenge presented to the player, as there's not even enough traffic to require extreme drifting, nor any incentive to drive quickly, lest the officer on duty chews me out again. In fact, she's kind of like creeping me out a little bit here. Joe, can you do something about this? Can you put yourself in as the police officer? That would actually calm me down immensely, all right? So for the rest of this, just put yourself over the footage. Right. Awesome. So all that's left to do is bumble around collecting postcards of famous Pyongyang landmarks, which is highly ironic, seeing as the country itself would likely count these images as evidence of you being a spy and are so utterly grainy that it fills your eyes with sand just by looking at them. In short, it is a bizarre game from an even more bizarre place. 21. No, that is not the number of seconds it takes Vin Diesel to make any reporter he finds attractive feel uncomfortable after an interview has started, but the max player count on the week of launch for Fast and Furious Crossroads, which didn't land with a squelch on the market. No, my friend. It smashed through the marketplace. It destroyed everything and then puked on the dashboard while giving us thumbs up. Car crash. The peak player count. On its week of launch, 21. I genuinely think that I could muster up more people to lick electrical fences than that by just yelling out my front door. And remember, my neighbours hate me. I mean, could you imagine living next door to this? That being said, for those unlucky few, they had to contest with a game so unbearably ugly through and through that 21 likely came to reflect the number of minutes that they could stomach before deleting this from Steam. Whereas most racetracks are designed with some thought and care for the player's enjoyment, Fast and Furious Crossroads looked like it based its entire course creation mentality on the emotional investment of its lead voice actors, as the resulting flat line makes for an experience akin to falling asleep at the wheel. Seriously, Vin, what were you doing in between takes for this? Tranquilizers and tequilas? Not that you'll have to worry about driving headfirst into oncoming traffic, because while these cars may look like they're made out of tinfoil draped over the graphics engine from Lego racers, each is secretly a tank and therefore can crash its way through with nary a worry. Now I know that the film franchise is one to take the laws of physics over its knee from time to time and give it an utter spanking, but here it feels so lazy and slapdash to the point that it's utterly aggravating. Now if we were being kind to the game, we could describe its gameplay moments as cinematic in the way that it tries to tie all of the action set pieces together with dynamic cutscenes and stuff like that. But if we're being honest, this is less cinematic and more ropey VHS that you recorded off of ITV with all the ad breaks included. Because I tell you this, for fucking none, Dr. Frankenstein himself would have a hard time trying to breathe life into this fucking corpse. This burnout clone with a popular IP stapled to its mug was about as low as video game tie-ins can stoop, and thankfully audiences around the world voted with their wallets and turned Crossroads into simply being crossed off any future wish lists. Oh, I tell you what, Joe, I'm getting so sick and tired of talking about these bad games, man. I feel like I'm just wearing myself thin. Can we just talk about some good racing games, like Micro Machines on the Mega Drive? That was like the epitome of brilliance, right?
Oh, bollocks. Yeah, hello? Yeah, look, we've got quite a serious problem. Jules is going massively off script, and I'm gonna need you to step in here. Yeah, well, we're doing racing games. Well, that's why I called you. Yeah, great, okay, cool. Oh, thank you so much, great. Oh, nice. Well, hey, good to speak. Oh, he's gone.
Oh, don't. Hello, dialer dickhead, Jules speaking. Wait, there's actually somebody else on the other end of the phone this time.
Right then, Jules, you smelly egg sundae, it's me! Back on the channel because you're talking about racing games and that's what I do now, so I'm going to step in.
Seriously though, how is my hand getting signal? It's a hand!
You mentioned Mega Drive Micro Machines like it's the best thing since sliced, not wet bread, because it was. And when it came to the most recent Micro Machines game, all Codemasters had to do was take Toy Box Turbos, a game they made 3 years prior that was really good, just do it again, put the licensed stuff in it, and they'd be golden. But they didn't. They started with that idea and then thought, no, let's strip out everything that actually makes the game fun. No single player whatsoever, loot boxes galore, product placement that would make even Wayne's World jokes feel toned down, and more focus on weird deathmatch modes over actual racing. It's astonishing to see them make a Micro Machines spiritual successor so right, and then make an actual Micro Machines game so wrong. This idiot pre-ordered it and played it for about 22 minutes. I'm still salty about it. It's been 5 years. I'm still salty about it. Anyway, it's good to see you. I'm really glad the series is still going. Kisses!
Thanks for calling in, Rich. Still don't know how you did that. Bye. Good to see you. Okay, let's talk about big rigs over-the-road racing. You knew that it was going to be on this not list, so let's just talk about it now. And here's the thing, I actually feel kind of bad for this game. I really, really do. Because while it is, on every conceivable level, absolutely, technically, awful, there is a story behind it that is kind of heartwarming, that will maybe make you see this game in a different light. Because yeah, it's a game that is so unbelievably broken that it's almost impossible to hate it with any real intent. Sure, the title Through the Fucking Floor Racing would be more appropriate. Sure, the AI is so incompetent that you can't actually lose the races. They aren't programmed to cross the finish line. And yes, the ability to reverse at speeds faster than light itself exists because nobody bothered to put a limiter on this feature will definitely break your brain, but it's so wonky that it will reduce you to fits of laughter over fits of anger. Plus, when you read into the title's development story, you'll find a tale of a small dev team with minimal budgets forced to release the game in a pre-alpha state by their publisher. But here's the thing, I'm actually glad that this game was released in the state that it was. I know it sounds really weird, it should never be encouraged that a publisher forces a game out onto the market when it clearly isn't ready, but here, because of the state that it was in, that's why it achieved such a level of infamy that allowed it to become a cult classic within some circles. If it came out as a polished or a more realised version of this game, you know what it would be? Fucking boring. Here, though, it's so insane, off the wall, that you cannot deny its presence. Because of the fact that it sold so well, because people were so drawn to its utter weirdness, it's getting a sequel. It would not have got a sequel had it come out as a better game. It basically got to live again because it died so very, very hard. So what we're going to do right now is give this game a little smack on the wrist, acknowledge that it is, on paper, literally the worst, and look forward to the insanity that is sure to come down the line. So yeah, this game sucks, but I'm kind of glad that it does. Oh, Christ, okay, so we're going to be talking about a game now. Called Cosmic Race. Now I want you, if you've got a dual screen, be a lot easier. If you've got a triple screen, you rich bastard, stop rubbing it in. Go over to Wikipedia and type in Cosmic Race PS1. Go down there and you tell me, what are the first things that you see when you look at its Wikipedia page? I'll tell you for those who can't be bothered to check. Cosmic Race is a spaceship racing game. That's it. That's all that you get when it comes to its gameplay. 7 words, or 6.5 if you're going to be technical about it, to sum up its entire essence. And that sort of thing shakes me to my very core. What is so bad here that people couldn't even begin to try and comprehend writing what it is on Wikipedia? Well, let's find out. Because yes, that should have been a warning not to open this Pandora's box of pain, and was definitely ignored by yours truly as I loaded up a copy and witnessed something akin to an intense acid trip and a 3-day festival come down all at once. Because Cosmic Race is more than a spaceship racing game, it is a waking nightmare. So after you've selected your Sonic OC Do Not Steal DeviantArt Post-it Note pilot, and let's face it, we all chose the Giga Chad Leo, you then get to select from a series of courses that looks as if you stared directly into the sun but also had pink eye at the same time. Like literally, this is bacteria, right? This is not a course. Well, if you thought that was sick, well, you're about to come down with a case of what the fever, as suddenly the game throws you into utter chaos. Cars race the opposite way through the track, there's an arrow constantly pointing to absolutely nothing, there's a mini-map in the top right that looks like a game of Centipede is being played out by itself, and then of course there's the graphics, which clip in and out of reality so much that you think that bloody Doctor Strange had been messing with the code. This is, without a shred of hyperbole, the worst racing game I have ever played. The actual worst. But you know what makes it somehow even more stinky? You accelerate by pressing R1. Case fucking closed. Burn this sick filth. Oh, and there we go, my friends. Another not list from yours truly. Thank you very much, Joe, for editing today. Send some love his way as well. And if you want to catch us on the social medias, then you can do so by following us over on Twitter at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, and Joe has put his handle up right here as well, so go follow him too, my friends. Now, before I go and try and calm down from the sweaty mess that I have become after filming this, I just want you to know one thing. This series is filmed with hyperbole, with over-the-top anger, and I encourage you not to try and take anger forward into your real lives because it's not healthy. It's a draining experience, and you will come out the other side of it actually learning nothing from it. Sometimes anger will crop up in our life, but I urge you, if you can have the ability to step away from situations that are causing you anger or people that are doing that, then I encourage you to do so because it's not a pleasant experience to hang on to and can manifest in some pretty bad ways. Big love to you. Go out there with love in your hearts instead. Build bridges instead of burning them. And remember, you deserve love and so does your neighbor. If you can carry that mentality forward, you will live a healthier and happier life. And trust me, that's all I want for you, all right? Now go out there and smash it with kindness. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.